Okay, y'all, semi-breaking news. Although it ain't that much news considering that it was already an injunction on student loan forgiveness. 6 states have made it where the processing of student loans have been halted. It supposed to be temporarily, but now a federal judge that was appointed by Donald Trump in the state of Texas. You know what, at this point with Texas, with their laws, because I did my election video telling you all the wild stuff that Texas want to do. They want to make doggone birth at the point of conception. Like, soon as the sperm hits the egg, you can't do nothing. You can't even take the day after pill or any of those things. My eyelashes are shedding, y'all. That's why y'all keep seeing me do this. They're trying to govern doggone people, self-pleasuring themselves. They passing anti-masturbation. They trying to pass anti-masturbation laws. Same sex, they trying to do away with that. As far as sodomy laws, they trying to put those on the books, enforce those. Because they already on the books, they're just not being enforced. But Texas, they trying to enforce all of that, honey. They trying to do away with affirmative action. And now, they darn gonna struck down student loans. All because Biden wanted to use the 2003 Emergency Heroes Act, which grants the president the right to intervene with student loans during a state of emergency. And it's like, you probably would have had a stronger case with that if you did not wait until we was on the clear side of said emergency. Now, if you would have doggone enforced this during the height of the damn pandemic where people was dying by the millions, this is why I said Democrats are their own worst enemies. Like, they do not do shit right. Oh, this is why I left the Democratic Party, because y'all, these are the most stupid motherfuckers that I've ever came across. It's like you had control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency for 2 years, and you wait until doggone midterms to finally get student loan debt forgiveness. Versus if you would have did this during the height of the pandemic, it would have been more justifiable, because that was not even a national-wide emergency. It was a worldwide health crisis. So you passing student loan debt forgiveness during a time where people lives were literally at stake, during a time where, honey, the government didn't mind giving out PPP loans and, putting eviction moramentals and all that in place. I know I'm mispronouncing it. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Making it where people cannot get their bills disconnected. That would have been the time to go ahead and push out student loan debt forgiveness, and more people would have been on board, because it's like, now you really would have looked like a behind to try to go against that during this doggone tumultuous time in the height of the pandemic. If you would have kept your promise and doggone implemented student loan debt forgiveness as soon as you got in office during the time where the Rona was creeping up, or even within the few months subsequent to you taking the seat, it would have doggone probably passed under the doggone Emergency Heroes Act. And we still puzzled on why you didn't use the president of the Higher Education Act of 1963 instead, which would have gave you more of a leg to stand on. That's why I say we just elect incompetent doggone fools up in office. Just incompetent. And then it's like, even right now, you have the power to stack the Supreme Court, because once again, all of this is coming through the Supreme Court. And now, I will say shout out to Amy Coney Barrett thus far. She has rejected it on the Supreme Court level, not once, but twice. Amy Coney Barrett is the latest Republican that was appointed under Trump. But when 2 bills was proposed to strike down student loan debt on the Supreme Court level, because all of those specific bills go through her, she has denied it up until this point. She turned it down to the lower courts. But now, with the lower courts, by default, it's going to go back to the Supreme Court. So she's been trying to avoid it from ruling on it. She's been trying to she ain't trying to make one way or the other on this decision. But Amy, you ain't about to have a choice in a minute. We about to see where you lie. Are you still with these doggone Republicans over here? Are you about to darn going to disappoint over 60 plus million Americans? But yeah, for people who was looking forward to student loan debt forgiveness, honey, it's up in the air right now. And like I said, there's so many things that Biden can actually do. He keeps making up excuses. Now, and once again, this was a negotiating tactic to get the darn on house. And once again, y'all get the House and Senate, y'all don't do shit. This is why people darn going, it's like, well, why do we keep getting you in there? You had the House and the Senate for 2 years. Now, okay, now there's about to be a runoff in Georgia. And you know the irony with them modifying the runoff, because it used to be in January, but they did it to help actually eliminate the chances of a black person getting in office if they ran for Senate. But the gag is, honey, the top 2 candidates are black men, so we're going to have a black person elected regardless for the second time in Georgia's history, whether it be the incumbent or the newcomer. Hopefully not the newcomer, honey, because we don't need Herschel up in that mud. But we about to have a black person up in office anyways. But not all skin folk is kinfolk. As you can tell from Clarence Thomas' ass on the Supreme Court, that darn was one of the main ones that helped overturn Roe versus Wade. Herschel Walker's darn contradictory behind, wanting to talk about he's anti-abortion, but he was paying for abortions left and right when it came to his own front door. And now you got student loan debt forgiveness. Y'all don't want to do away with that because certain groups don't benefit, and it doesn't address the issue. And once again, all that could have been eliminated if Biden was just simply darn state, this is what we're going to do to address this not being a perpetual problem in the future. We're going to make sure interest rates are capped at this amount. We're going to come out with universal colleges, tech school, trade schools, and 4-year colleges, free tuition. That way, the cost of getting education has now dropped. That way, you don't even have to pull the loans in the first place. If he would have darn combined that with darn student debt forgiveness, he would have had far more of a leg to stand on. And even right now, as we speak, he can do this right now through executive order. And he is still choosing not to darn do it. He's darn lollygag and talking about, well, we just going to wait till the courts decide. Really? The courts where the judges were appointed by darn Donald Trump, how do you think that's about to work out for the American people? At this point, I don't know why Biden even honey, he needs to do like Tosi and just say he's a darn full Republican at this point, because he's not even trying to pretend to be somewhat of a Democrat. He ain't even trying to be on no Schumer, Pelosi darn deceptive. He's just right out darn on some Republican type of bullshit. You're not even putting up a fight. Stuff that you can actually do, you are not even making an attempt to do. And you're wondering why people are actually wanting to darn put in third party. The Stacey Abrams of the world, who came through with a good speech, the Val Demings. Now, here's another issue we need to address. Sadly, certain areas, they like the message, but don't like the messenger, honey. It's sad to say, but black women in a position of power still scares people. Because I believe if you darn get a white gay or a Latina gay to run in Georgia, up against darn whoever in the Senate, if you replace, what did darn she was running for governor. So in the next 4 years, when you have the governor race, if you replace Stacey Abrams, but you put all her points with a different person, I guarantee you that person will more likely win. Because they just don't like the image of a big darn dark black skinned woman. But if it would have been like a slender darn Latina woman, because once again, we got to address the misogynoir of the country as well. It's sad to say, but sometimes you got to play the dirty game in a certain way to darn maneuver your positions up in the dough. So pretty much, it's like we have to do the Martha Wash treatment. Honey, Stacey Abrams, we're going to use all your points, but we're going to put it with this more darn going palatable face. Because Georgia, y'all some superficial bitches. The areas that darn going she won was the darn going prideful Atlanta and stuff. So it's like, I'm willing to bet more people would have turned out if it was a gay queen, honey. And it's sad to say, but honey, some of y'all are more mesmerized by darn on appearances. Stacey Abrams just didn't flip the bill for y'all. Even though everything she was saying is true and we should go based off of the policies. But honey, some people are visuals. And it's sad, it's pathetic, but honey, that's what we need to darn gonna do, honey. And then I would even go as far as to say be deceptive and have some new coming folks run as Republican to split the vote. To intentionally darn going siphon from the true Republican. See, this is what I would do if I was doing this shit. And state, especially in North Carolina, where we're a swing state, honey, what you do is you get your friend to run as a Republican. Y'all make sure to scrub the media and make sure y'all are not associated together. You have them do every darn on. You have them promote White Lives Matter. No, All Lives Matter. You are a proud component of our troops. You are pro-police. You are Blue Lives Matter. You have one of your friends vote on that. I mean, go on that. And then you darn gonna run a progressive up in the midst. And then the faux Republican siphons the votes off from the true Republican and does just enough siphon, because once again, the person who's impersonating the Republican, the goal is not for them to win, but to siphon off enough votes of the Republican where it's like you garner more attention to the doggone Democrat. That's what I would do. And then meanwhile run another one in a whole different party that's conservative, because on the unlikely chance that the faux Republican doesn't win the primary and the other one wins the general, if you get another conservative like party to run against the Republican Party and it's standing on more stricter alt-right darn going policies, honey, that will also siphon enough votes off of the darn going Republicans where they end up splitting that vote. And then the progressive that's going up against the Republican ends up winning, because the faux Republican that was only in the game to siphon off the votes did just enough to split the votes where you was able to become the victor. That's what you need to do in states like Georgia, because it's done been proven time and time and time again. Atlanta, Athens, Marietta, them little city areas are not enough to win the darn go vote. You need to get some folks to darn go siphon and split the votes in those rural type of areas, honey. You need to darn go, and also you need to cater to the heartstrings of the poor working white person as well. In addition to the Black Lives Matter on the progressive train, honey, you need to be going to them darn gone backwoods, because not all white people are on the corruption as far as benefiting all this, honey. There's plenty of white folks that are trailer park trash and all this, that lives in the same rundown neighborhoods that swipe the EBT card like a black bitch from the hood. You got Quita and you got a Bubble. You got Day Day and you got a motherfucking darn going Betty around the corner who goes to the corner store and gets her pack of cigarettes. Not everybody that's white darn going is profiting around here. Over half of Americans darn going live underneath $50,000 a year, and black people only make up 14% of the population. You tug on the heartstrings of enough poor white people, especially darn on farmers. You give them enough grant opportunities. You do enough development opportunities, housing opportunities in poor white neighborhoods in addition to the black neighborhoods, and come up with a more successful route of immigrants coming into the country, especially the darker one, because honey, Democrats, they focus on the Latinas, but they, as soon as it's a Caribbean person, as soon as it's a because you can be Latina and be Caribbean and get denied, like a Dominican, a Haitian, But you be Mexican, Venezuelan, Ecuadorian, come on through, honey. So we need to fix that as well. If you run on those types of policies, and like I said, get enough of the white poverty vote up in the midst. Meanwhile, the ones who are going to stick true to conservative are getting siphoned off by the faux Republican. Honey, we can darn gonna flip quite a few states. If we ran on that type of strategy, honey, Democrats can darn go and take off. And once again, I'm giving y'all free advice on the Democrat. I prefer if we can do this third party. But Democrats can use this strategy too. But if you have somebody run on a third ticket on the right, and you have somebody who's third party and goes in on a Democrat just for the politics of it all. Because it's also hard to get a third party on the ballot because of the corruption that goes on. Y'all seen how hard it was to get green ticket on the party here in North Carolina. So if you can't get your true party on, you can go under a whole different party and then announce after you win that you're really of this party. And even though you are on the Democratic name, you are Democrat in name only. But these are your true policies. You reveal your hand after you win the game. Don't reveal your motherfucking hand during playing the game. Bitch, you reveal all your hand after you darn gonna win on the bitch. You run on that darn gonna strategy, Democrats, you can flip North Carolina. You can flip South Carolina. You can flip Georgia. Now, I don't know about Florida. Florida's a whole different area, honey. I don't know if you might be able to do that. Oh, wait a minute. Now, Louisiana. Louisiana got a whole... Honey, you got Cajun poverty down there, Creole poverty, darn gone black poverty, darn gone... Honey, it's enough issues going down in Louisiana. You might be able to get Louisiana a little bit purple. Now it's going to be a violet purple. It's going to still be reddish, but you might make a little breakthrough and put a little bit of fear up in darn gone Louisiana. Florida, you might be able to flip. Yeah, I would say Florida, you will flip more to a true purple, but that Louisiana is going to be violet. It's going to be enough to put enough fear up in their heart. But if you can get Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina to flip, that would definitely help you, especially during presidential election. You get the electoral colleges on the president level for North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. In addition to the states that's automatically going to vote for you, darn on Hawaii, Maryland, darn on New York, Pennsylvania's pretty much guaranteed to be blue. California. You get those. In addition to your regular one, Biden can win re-election. But once again, if Biden keeps moving so sorrily like this, child, it's going to be a lost cause, honey. It's going to be a lost cause, honey. I can strongly see a Republican taking in 2024. Now, if they really want to do something, if they want to go under this same old corporate, this Democrat-ness, it's like, let's get somebody fresher in there that knows how to put two words together. Honey, flip the darn positions. Get darn Kamala to run in 2024 and move on from there. That way, y'all essentially have 12 years. Biden, you for and done, just like Donald Trump. Honey, you won and through, baby. Just go ahead and have Kamala come on in for 2024. And she can possibly ride it on out to 2032. Now, in the perfect world, honey, we can get somebody like Marion Williamson, you know, in the mix by 2028. Well, hell, my real goal, hell, it wouldn't pay for me to win the lottery. Because I tell you, if I was to win, like, the mega Powerball for, like, $400-some million or some shit, I would darn go and put millions behind Marion Williamson. I would go snatch up darn going Andrew Yang and put darn on Andrew Yang up in the motherfucker with darn on Marion Women. Andrew Yang would be the VP, and Marion would be the darn on president, and we'll have the first Asian VP and the darn on first darn on white darn on woman president, period. The first official female president in history, because Kamala, she was technically the first female, but she only served for 4 hours because President Biden wasn't able to serve his duties. But the first official female president, Honey, it wouldn't pay for me to have millions. And my perfect candidate would be Marion Williamson, and we get Andrew Yang up in the midst. And then as far as an advisor, honey, we go ahead and throw darn on Nina Turner. Nina Turner, we're gonna have to take you away from TYT Network, boo. You go ahead and replace darn on Nina Turner with one of them other black folk. And shout out to TYT. They done finally took my advice. I remember getting on their ass years ago. I was like, y'all so progressive, but the only black person y'all have up in there is JR. Y'all can't find nobody else because darn on Ida Rodriguez ain't about to be the representation for black women. And sure enough, we done finally started seeing some different shades of true melanin up in the midst, honey. So shout out to TYT. But we're going to have to take Nina Turner off your hands in 2024 and put her in the advisor cabinet underneath Marion Williamson and darn on Andrew Yang. I think, although, I don't know. Andrew Yang, he's been moving a little bit shifty lately. Andrew Yang, we might have to take him off, honey. I would say Elizabeth, but see now, we got to think about the politics of it. We can't have too much estrogen because y'all know the country is inherently misogynistic. We need enough diversity thrown in the mix where people wouldn't mind coming through. Because one woman is already going to intimidate them enough. We can't run a ticket with two women. So I'm thinking, who could actually, if it's not Andrew Yang, who can actually run on the ticket with Marion Williamson? Now, in a real perfect world, we would say Williamson and Nina Turner, but once again, that ain't going to happen, honey. That's why I say put darn Nina Turner as the advisor. Damn, I'm thinking, who could we get? I guess we'll throw somewhat of a semi-corporate person in the mix. That way, it would create some establishability for darn Marion Williamson, because they would want to at least see one of those two positions held by somebody that's had like some parliamentarian experience. So it's like, okay, maybe if we get Cory Booker as the VP, because he's black, but he's not an intimidating black to some people, because he, like Obama, he's high, he's light skinned, he's even lighter, he's high yellow, he got blue eyes, so he comes off as ethnically ambiguous. He plays up on both the white and the black side of him. He's Democrat, and he's right in that soft spot where enough corporateness will darn feel comfortable. And then you got Marion Williamson with the progressiveness. And then you got Nina Turner. But see, she will be an advisor role, so she won't come off as intimidating to certain folks. Because we got to think about the corporate dollars and shit thrown in the mix as well. Because in addition to winning over the voters, you got to create a perfect darn set of people. And you got to line them up just right. That way when the negative ads and stuff coming through, the corporates come in, you can't smear nobody's name. And as far as I know, it's nothing you can throw at Marion Williamson. Cory Booker's record is clean, and Nina Turner is clean. If you put them all three together, I think that would be a good team to run on in 2024. What y'all think? Like I said, Marion Williamson, and then we get Cory Booker. And then and you know the black folks will come on. I hate to say it like that, but some people think superficial like that. They see Cory Booker, black man, vibrant or whatnot. He has that Obama-esque move to him. Honey, they'll flock to Marion Williamson just off of the strength of darn on Cory Booker, because if anything was to happen to her, it's pretty much Obama 2.0. Except I don't think Cory Booker would be worse like Obama. I think he would be somewhat decent. So you got a more decent upgraded Obama. Honey, there goes enough of the black vote coming on through. You got Marion Williamson. She's going to appeal to all the folks. So the young, poverty-stricken white person feels comfortable voting for Marion Williamson. And then as far as the black sister, you got Nina Turner as your advisor. Then I say Elizabeth Warren. We can go ahead and take you out the Senate. Put you as Secretary of State. Bernie, you can stay where you at. And that's no shade, because we don't want to take too many people out of the Senate, because we want to have somebody who's the head of the Senate. So Bernie Sanders hopefully can take over Schumer's spot and darn take the darn head of the Senate. So this is how I'm positioning. Bernie, you stay in the Senate and become the head of the darn Senate. I wish we can darn get rid of Nancy and get somebody like darn Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to darn be head of the House. Now this would be the perfect matchup. Somebody like Ilhan Omar or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is head of the House. Bernie head of the Senate. Williamson as president. Booker as VP. Nina Turner as the advisor. Elizabeth Warren as secretary of the darn state. And then we'll find somewhere in those 15 cabinet positions to put darn Andrew Yang. We'll find some way to tuck him in somewhere that he's useful. If you put that, now you got multiple minority groups. You hitting all the target points. You got the dark-skinned black woman representation. You got the white woman. You got the darn high yellow darn man, honey. Now we need to find an established darn black dark-skinned chocolate darn man and put him somewhere as well. And then if you really want to bring it on home, if you want a different advisor position, since I set this whole darn scheme up, it wasn't a scheme that was set up for Ty with the bullshit. DivaWuan came up with this motherfucking scheme. So with that being said, if you really want to add some diversity, honey, you go ahead and tap a dark-skinned black trans woman up in the mix and put me in the advisory position too, honey. So you got Nina Turner represented for the cisgender women, and then you got darn DivaWuan representing it for the darn black trans, well, for trans people, period, but a black, dark-skinned, melanated trans woman as well. So you got all the darn markers, honey. You got the LGBT representation, especially trans, because in politics we hear about the gays, we hear about lesbians, but we don't see the trans representation. So you have somebody like myself in a higher up position representing it for the trans community. You got, like I said, Nina Turner representing it, dark-skinned black women, black people. We both representing blackness overall. Cory Booker representing the black man. We'll find a chocolatey black man in a certain position as well. Once again, we got to vet out. You know, we don't want no Herschel Walkers in the mix, honey. We got to have somebody that, once again, progressive. So if y'all know any progressive dark-skinned black men, we can add to the mix, honey. Leave it down below. But that would be my strategy for Democrats come 2024, honey. If we ran on that sort of ticket, that would be the dream ticket, honey. But I feel they're going to go with the prior option. They more likely going to, you know, do the shucking and jiving. Notice that darn Kamala Harris went in on, she was going to fix the mortality rate with black women, and she was going to invest in our sewer system. Yet it's been months in Mississippi still dealing with contaminated water. And y'all only gave them $100 million when research has shown for them to fully get their issue fixed, it needs to be at least $1 billion. But y'all are still giving tens of billions of dollars to Ukraine. Y'all pretty much said to hell with darn Brittany Griner. And people in Mississippi is like, well, hell, y'all better make this darn hell, that's the epitome of trying to stretch a dime into a dollar bill, honey. You gave darn Mississippi $100 million, and you want them to stretch it to $1 billion. Instead of just giving them the $1 billion. But Kamala, this is what you ran on. Going for president, and you still have a little bit of voice, you still have a little bit of pull. You can darn whisper in Biden's ear, you the damn VP. That's why I say you put these people in a position of power, and time again, they just don't do shit. But I guarantee you, if they decide to go with the other option and tell Biden to sit on down, but you still want to be the vice president, you want to do a switcheroo for the first time in history. We're going to flip you around, and you will be the VP, and we're going to push Kamala. And all of a sudden, Kamala gonna be with the bullshit of, oh, she remember growing up and listening to Tupac 10 years before he came out. I got my tennis shoes, my hot sauce in the bag. Now, notice we ain't heard none of those black tropes and bullshit during this whole time that she's in office. But I guarantee you, mark my words, and I'm going to bring this video back up to y'all attention. I guarantee you they're going to probably try to strike this video down. I'm going to save it to my hard drive and re-upload it to y'all behinds, honey. That Kamala's going to give it about 2 more years. Kamala's going to come on through with the hot sauce and all that bullshit that she ain't mentioned since Dargon running for election. Don't fall for that bullshit no more. Like I said, if Democrats really want the Dargon do a revolutionary change, honey, what we need to do is the option that I just mentioned, honey. And like I said, old dogs don't want the Dargon do new tricks, honey. That's why we need to get some of these folks out of here. Just because they're blue don't mean that they're true to you. Once again, oh, child, put that on a motherfucking shirt. Honey, put that on a shirt. Just because they blue don't mean they true to you. If you hear somebody else say that, honey, that was my intellectual property. I want my coins, honey. I want my coins, honey. Y'all going to give DivaWuan her coins, child. Just because they blue don't mean they true to you, honey. Vote the true blue progressive. Boo-boo. So we need to get these establishment Democrats out and replace them with enough of the progressives, and we will start to see revolutionary change. But those are my thoughts. Give me y'all thoughts down below on who y'all think will be the dream team to run for 2024. What are y'all thoughts on student loan debt forgiveness looking like it's going to be in dire jeopardy, child? Like I said, at this point, it looked like it's only a 20% chance if it goes through. Because Biden is not even putting up a decent fight to even darn counteract it. He's talking about, oh, we'll just let the courts decide, instead of darn stacking more evidence that will prove his case that he has the right to darn make the executive authority. But y'all leave y'all thoughts down below on everything. Feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see y'all soon with more videos. Mwah.